what we're going to do here is go over the nVision wizard setup. I'm Greg,
Bruce.
and we're going to just go through the nVision setup from the wizard from scratch. This is from a fresh install. When you load the LPZ to the project, to the touch panel, and to the processor, once it's loaded and it reboots, it comes up with this page. And if you have a previous project that was done that you backed up, you would click restore. And from this point, you would just put in the MAC address of your processor here, type the keyboard, and then once you type in the MAC address, you would hit this button here to download your file. It would download the file to the processor, and then you would reboot it, and then your project would be restored. But we're not going to do that today. We're going to start from scratch. So what you're going to do is hit the start button when it comes up, a little disclosure agreement here, and select agree, hit next. And then basically this thing's going to start walking you through setting up the system. So you could just type in your dealer name, and at this point it becomes very easy. Anyone can set up the system. You could have the store that installs the TVs, program the system, or anyone at this point. And you have the zip code of the project. And then here you're going to check off all the areas in the system that's in the project. We'll just do these 4 for this demo, and select the number of rooms. So we'll do 3 audio rooms. There's some other options here, but we won't go into that right now. This is going to, if you use Sonos, you'll use the Sonos app on the touch panel and some other stuff, but we'll just go through the basic setup for now. Choose 3, so you name your room, starting, playroom. And then this is if you have any receivers for the audio system. You would just choose a model, the IR port if you're going to use IR port if you're going to use IR. If you're going to use COM port, then you choose the COM port for that. But I won't be concerned with this right now. We're just going to go through a basic setup. So the number of sources, this is the number of audio sources. You can have up to 10 sources. You can set up this as a Sonos system where you're not using any Crestron amps, and it's going to be just a Sonos system, or you could set it up like a regular Crestron system where you're going to set up the system basically just for a standard Crestron system where you would have a Crestron amplifier and that type of thing. Source 1 Sonos, we could put Mirage, this is kind of, and then we could put Apple TV or something. So here's where you map the source to tell it what it is. So source 1, this is where you tell the input of source 1. So it's going to be source 1. Let's just say it's not in the order like input 1, 2, 3. So when I say source 1 is input number 3, and when I choose it, it's going to be Sonos number 1. And then we'll go to the next source, and it says Mirage. So we just go here and choose Mirage number 1. We can make that input 5. And then this third one, Apple TV. We could just choose this as there's multiple options for generic sources. We could put a no control icon or custom icon if you want. You can actually put your own icon, but we'll just do a no control icon page. Look for here, and we'll put input 7. And the lighting, if it's just a few lights in the system, you can just uncheck light rooms. And if you have, like, say it's just like a small house and you just had a couple of lights, you just uncheck that. It'd just be one page with a bunch of lights. But most houses are going to have rooms, so you check rooms, or you check the number of rooms here. We'll say 2 rooms here. And these light options here, I'll go through, not on the wizard page, on the other page, so you can see what they are. But basically, this is going to show the levels. If you're using a Crestron system or a system where you're getting light level feedback, then you want that enabled. If it's a system where it's not just, if you're going to be having dimming, then you want this enabled. If it's a system maybe where you just have on and off buttons, then you want to disable that. On and off ramping, if that's enabled, when you hit on and off, it'll ramp it for 3 to 5 seconds going on and off. If you disable that, it's like an instant on, instant off. And this is showing the level percentage, which is a number that'll be on the screen. So you can have that. And then there's another option here where you can enable 12 button layout, where instead of 6 buttons on the touch panel, you'll get 12. And there'll just be some additional programming for that. On this page, I'll show you where. So I'll enable 12 buttons, so you can see here. And then this is where you would choose the device right here. There's plenty here, and mostly Lutron and Crestron, but any system could be used. So we're gonna disable 12 button for now. And then this is where you start taking the room. So we could put kitchen. Room number 2 we'll put is a guest room, and then 3 we'll put, oh, we only did 2 rooms, that's right. So then we'll do next, and this is where you're gonna set the light load names. So this is saying light label kitchen light number 1. So we'll put countertop, light 2, you put island. I will just do 2 lights in the kitchen for just an example. And then we'll just skip the rest of the lights for this room. There's a 6. And then the guest room, we'll just put sconce and bed lamp. And we'll just do those 2. And then HVAC, this is all the options they have here. So regardless of what the thermostat is set to, if you just leave these alone, if you disable all the stuff, nVision will take the settings from the Crestron thermostat. So if you have auto disabled or cool, it'll automatically take the settings and make buttons appear and disappear based upon the settings you set manually in the thermostat. But you can override that by just forcing it to show heat button, cool button, things like that.
So by default, it's best to just leave those on.
Crestron thermostats, yes, but if you're using something like April Air or something like that, that it's not going to automatically get the settings, then you would come here and manually choose what you're going to have shown. So it's just there's no air conditioning, it's just heat. You would disable this in the system and then disable the auto also, and then you wouldn't have but the Crestron one, you probably wouldn't leave it off. But you can do it on the Crestron as well if you want, because then you don't have to worry about settings in the thermostat really as much. And then we choose the device. Port is disabled because it's Crestron, it's CrestNet. It's compatible with the new thermostats. All the DIN thermostats, the old Crestron CHV thermostats, the Horizon thermostats is compatible with all that. And even the RF EX thermostats. So we'll just put kitchen, bedroom. And then here's the video. Video, you can do up to 24 zones in a standard system, in a residential system. It can do up to about 100 TVs in the bar matrix environment, which is for a bar. But you can use the bar matrix in a residence, so if you need to, you could do 100 zones in the house if you want to. But the standard full-blown video system is set up for 24 zones. If you can do live TV on the touch panels, you can enable this live TV button. If you're going to do live TV, basically you have to get a stream box, and a stream box would stream. It would be another output basically on the switcher, and the output would go to the stream box, and the stream box would be another zone on the touch panel, and you could use the volume from the touch panel or from the speakers in the ceiling or whatever.
The live TV acts as like preview window on the touch panel?
Well, in the bar matrix environment, live TV would be like a preview window for like to send the sources to different TVs on the bar. That would be like, you could use that as the preview window. But in the house environment, it's just a TV. People use touch panels in the wall as a TV. Gotcha. So that would allow you, so you have a touch panel in the kitchen next to your island or whatever. A touch panel, you would just go to video, and we'll show you in a little while on this video. You just go to video and you can make full screen video on your touch panel and use it as a TV, and the sound will come out the touch panel.
So you could actually make it full screen, and then you could watch your TV show.
Touch panel would be basically a TV. So let's just choose 2 rooms, and then hit next. So we'll do kitchen again. All we have is a kitchen in this house, and then we'll do guest bedroom. So this is basically a setup for the system. So this is kitchen, first room, and we're going to select the first source. We'll select the TV. So we'll just choose a Samsung TV. This is the IR port we choose. If you're going to be using Crestron certified drivers, we click here. And we'll show you the setup for certified drivers in another video, but we'll just choose IR port 1 for now for this. And then we're going to choose source 1. And source 1, we will make, we'll just choose, we'll leave it as DirecTV. We'll set that to IR port 2. And then that's going to be HDMI 1 input on the TV. This is where you set the audio output. Everything in green has to be set for every source. And everything in blue has to be set once for the whole room.
And so, quick question: IR port 2 is referring to the port on the processor, IR port 2?
Yes, well, not necessarily the processor, because you can use the wireless Crestron IR boxes, and you can use the PoE boxes, those 4-port boxes.
Got it.
Use those as well, because once you get to past IR port 8, 16, and all these 24s, those are those boxes you're going to be using.
So I also see you have HDMI 1, so that means it's going to be able to actually switch the source on the TV.
Right, that's TV input, right? So let's just say you had no audio switcher, and then you had just a bunch of sources plugged into the TV. So I would choose my next source, Sony Blu-ray. Well, the next source would be a Sony Blu-ray, and I could choose that to HDMI 3,
Right.
input 3.
Got it.
You can have all these sources going into all different inputs on the TV. It's really flexible, so you can have it however you want. But most systems in this environment, you're gonna have them all going to HDMI 1, and then you're gonna be setting the house switcher port here.
Right.
So this switcher input 2, and we'll do DirecTV as switcher port 1. And you could also, so it's very flexible. You could use a house HDMI switcher in conjunction with a local HDMI switcher in each room. So you would just hit type here, and this is the local HDMI switcher. So let's just say for some odd reason, you had a bunch of sources and there weren't enough inputs on the TV and you had more sources or whatever. So you could add a local switcher for this room, and you would choose the switcher down here. Let's say it's a binary switcher, and you choose the input for that the local switcher is using, and we'll choose the IR port for the binary. So we'll choose IR port. Once you get past all the IR ports, there's COM ports. So we'll just choose for IR port 8 for the video switcher, for the local video switcher, and then so you can have the house switcher and the local video switcher. So you could have a lot of switching going on. That's how flexible it is, and you can do it however you want. So we'll just stick with the house switcher for now in this example, and then we'll do one more source, and we'll do like a Fire TV or something. We do control a Fire Stick via the USB port. You need a little hub switch and a little IR thing you use. And then we'll just choose the IR port for here, and then we'll choose HDMI 1 and we'll put 3. And we'll choose the audio port. If it's going through the speakers in the ceiling, then you would choose the input for the speakers, right, in the audio input. And this is the audio input. If we're going to use the kitchen speakers, this is where we choose kitchen speakers right here. This is the audio output. If we're going to use the TV, then we just keep going down TV speakers. But here we're going to use the kitchen output for now, because we're going to have the sound come out the speakers. And if you had a receiver, this is where you would choose the receiver. This is where you choose the port. If you keep going with the port, after you get to there's so many IR ports because you can use a bunch of those PoE IR boxes and wireless boxes, or you can use global cache boxes, and all those would be. Processor only has 8 ports, but past 8 is where you would start using the global cache or the Crestron PoE boxes. So we'll choose Marantz, we'll choose Integra, we'll use COM1, but that's just where you would set up. We're just going to use speaker output for this example though. And then that would be basically a setup for this room, and then you can go to the kitchen, and then we'll bring this down, the big guest bedroom. You would choose, I don't think we set up a guest bedroom audio zone, but you would choose the guest bedroom audio zone here, and then you set that there. Or we'll just use one for TV speakers. We'll just use TV speakers for this example. And TV, we'll choose a Sony TV. We'll put IR input 4 for that. And then we'll choose Spectrum source 1, and we'll choose Apple TV for this one, IR port 5. Input TV on input 1, and this TV, we're going to do HDMI input 2. And then we're not using a house switcher on this one, so we'll just leave it at that. And this one, I'll just leave that set up, and that's pretty much it for that. Pretty much finishes the wizard. And then when you're done, this is the setup we have here. We set up the video. You can see there's the sources that we set up. Now this startup here is directly correlated the time to the time it takes for the TV to turn on to switch to input. That's how long the screen stays up. You could change those settings in another page we'll show you. This is your control, and Fire Stick, you actually use a keyboard as well, full control keyboard. And then this is where your live TV would be. The picture would be here, and then you can click on it, and you have full screen, and you have controls in the corner, and then you have your favorites in this corner. It's not set up yet. And then that's how the live TV would work. So you could have full screen video, and then you would just control everything, volume and everything like that, and then just click the screen to get back. Favorites, and favorites are only enabled on cable boxes, so that button won't be lit up on other sources. And then that's basically a setup. That's basically what the video will look like. And then to shut down, if it's using a Crestron audio, you can just come down and say you want to just leave the video playing and not hear anything. You just come down and shut the audio off, and TV will stay on, and picture will continue. But if you want to continue to play, and you would hear nothing, but you would see the picture. And you could shut down the video, which would shut just the video off, and you'd hear the audio still, or you can hit the room off and it'll shut the whole room off. So that's the video. Audio, this is trying to connect to a Sonos or whatever. That's connected to the Sonos to control it directly, not using the app. So I think we set this up for a Sonos system. That's why we're not getting the source page. So basically, this is set up as a Sonos system where you're going to control the volume on the Sonos directly. You have no Crestron amplifiers, and you're just selecting this Crestron Sonos zone and controlling the volume on the Sonos. And you use the Sonos system as a standalone.
So this is a routing for zones.
This is like you have, say you have 6 Sonoses in the house, no Crestron audio, which is straight Sonos system. This would be controlling, selecting the Sonos. It would pop here, and you would control the volume on the Sonos. No Crestron switcher or nothing like that. Lighting, I'm gonna go to settings page for a second to show you guys some of the configuration on some of this. This is a additional configuration here. So lighting, we are going, you can choose, this is where, this might be a better area where you can set up your stuff, because you can see if you show levels, this is what the button look like. If you don't show levels, you can say like on-off ramping. If you enable dim buttons, they don't disappear. Touch dimming. Touch dimming is when you enable this levels. You could touch and drag the volume level from this touch bar. Show level percent. So this page will let you see kind of what it's going to look like for your setup.
So you can configure the lighting page is going to look like from that.
Yeah.
The tile looks like from that page. Got it.
So there's no lighting program loaded, so the lights aren't going to work right here. But normally you see the volume level light up, but there's no lighting program loaded. We'll go through the program loading in another video. And this is the trial system not activated, running in trial mode. Days left are displayed. So that just lets you know that your system hasn't been activated. It's in trial mode, so makes you aware of that. If you wanted to hide those numbers, you can hide those numbers while trial is active, so it doesn't look like, so you have those numbers not there. But if you hide it, then there's a chance you could forget that it's not activated yet.
So exactly how does the trial work? You just load it to the processor and it connects to the internet?
Once you load the system, as soon as you start setting it up, the wizard, it automatically initiates the trial starting. So you wouldn't want to load it to the processor until you're ready to start using it. Because once you load the processor and start the nVision, it starts the clock on the trial.
Got it.
Right, and there's 7 days. This is set for a 7-day trial, so there's 7 days left in this trial.
And so, if you want to transition from the trial to the full version, how do you do that?
You just click here, hit activate, and then it will go to a screen, or you can go to configure page and activate it right here. And then you would type in your key that you get, and then hit activate.